MakingStarWars.net.
Hey everyone, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and today we're going to just talk about the things that are floating around up in the air, being all weird, the weird fantasy life of fans, I guess. And thank you to Star Wars Santa for getting me access to a quote or two that I needed. I do appreciate it, man. And make sure you follow Star Wars Santa on the YouTube.com machine. And I was bad at communicating. Rob is here. Hi, Rob.
Hey, yeah, I thought it was like gonna be earlier. So when you weren't early, I was like, all right, I just assume normal time.
Yeah.
And then I'm like sending an email. I was in the middle of recording a video for work. I make videos for work, so they know exactly what I mean, right, Jason?
You're talking about your OnlyFans?
Yeah. My only crafts. Right?
Only crafts?
So,
they're actually drawings of his feet, but they're really accurate.
Hey, man, you want a Crayola foot? I got you, dog. So anyway, man, I was sending an email. I was like, oh, shit, he's on.
Sorry.
For a minute, I thought you were on with Santa. I was like, nope, that's the show.
That's the show. No, what ended up happening was yesterday, after we got finished with this show, Penny has the virus that Luke had. And so she was just like down and just horrible, I guess, all day yesterday. And I was supposed to go do something today. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to go today, just so you know, to this person. And I'm like, because my daughter's not feeling too well. And then so last night was rough. She was just like fever, sweats, all that stuff. I got like 3 hours sleep. And then she sleeps like 4 hours, wakes up. She's like, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm a kid. I'm back.
I take it back. I don't feel sorry.
Yeah, no. And then she's like, and then of course her mom comes and gets her, and she's like, I'm like, oh, cool. I got to do the fun part this week. But so anyways, So sorry about the bad communication, Rob. But so what's going on is that there's this like quote going around from Leslie Headland about old George Lucas. And like what's going on there. And in this quote, though, there are things that if you're not a little bit privy to the industry and how they talk about things and what they're saying, some of the shit she says, the conversation kind of falls off. And then you're able to just make it into whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't understand what the critique of the auteur theory is, then it seems like it's this, according to the internet, not me, rabid lesbian attacking old man George Lucas, who created Star Wars on a fucking walnut farm. But that's
think there's a place that we could take the National Enquirer format and just do all the nerd bro like grievances, right? Like,
here we go, lesbians. They're trying to get Lucas. He's been hiding out. He's in a bunker, but the lesbians are everywhere. You know, it's
the National Grievous, we'll call it. We'll make Grievous like the lead dude, right? Like he's the dude complaining.
Yeah. So and like it's just like it's been a perfect storm of the last 24 hours of stupid. I'm just gonna be honest.
Anything about this, Jason?
That's why. And no, this is good because I'm going to explain it to you. So first up, we're gonna roll out with the first myth du jour is that the Acolyte has been canceled. It's not going to be made, you guys.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
I gotta go. Hold on, I gotta go tweet that.
I know, canceled.
Right? Jeez, Jason.
The show that I literally wrapped this last week. Not going to film now, guys. And then the goalpost got moved. I saw it. I'm not going to I'm not going to interact with people that are disingenuous because you're not going to reach reason with somebody who's just at the very foundations of what they're doing is just disingenuous across the board. But
actors.
Yeah. And I saw they said, oh well, the second season has now been canceled. Not the first is fine now. The first is fine. Second season has not been canceled, you guys. I'm like at a loss
Not
for
for nothing.
words.
Didn't I tell you they weren't going to make a second season of Book of Boba Fett, though, Jason? Right? Didn't I say that?
Oh, I would stop saying that if I were you.
I don't know. Bespin seems to think it ain't happening.
No. Right now, no. There was a couple of weeks where I knew that they were making Boba Fett props and materials down in
Right.
Manhattan. We're like, is this for Boba Fett 2 or for Mando 4? What's it going to be? We had Ghost Track. I can't remember what it is. Ghost Track 19 or some bullshit, which is on. I think it's just just a little company. But anyways, yeah, we end up in this place where I don't know. It's like I feel like there's a portion of the internet that is LARPing the reality that they wish existed. And then it goes into this really weird place where some of the people aren't aware that they're on a LARP, a live action role playing session. They have no idea. They really believe these things that they're being told.
Think they're really happening. The Civil War is happening at Disney. Like the Little Mermaid's tanking. They're going down in flames.
Right. Yeah, and then like there was even a guy who I don't know if I should pick on him. I'm not going to pick on him. I don't want to pick on anybody. It's not my thing. But this guy's like, they could always do what Warner Brothers did, and they could get rid of they could get rid of it like they did Batgirl. And I don't think
to be fair, they didn't get rid of Batgirl. They locked her in a trunk and drove her into the La Brea tar pits, right? The La Brea tar pits. So that's where Batgirl. They didn't get rid of her.
Yeah, and
for a tax write-off.
Bespin, you called Bespin said Ghost Track 17 Beatles reference. Misspelled the Beatles. You're officially not European anymore.
There's a few things I've seen Jason really get angered by, and misspelling
the Beatles
is one of them. Yeah.
It's the only thing you guys did well. Okay,
for Jason, it's like when for Jason, it's like when people don't hyphenate Spider-Man. Right?
Yeah.
Like they get really mad about that.
Yeah. I do that though. I respect the Spider-Man. Miles Morales is Spider-Man. For Batgirl, it was an $18.9 million write-off. And to be clear, that money didn't go into Warner Brothers' pocket. They spent $90 million and they get an $18.9 million write-off on the $90 million. At a federal tax corporate rate of 21%. That's not fucking ideal. That's what you do when you can't cover operating costs to say promote your movie's slate for the next year because you don't have the money. That's when you do that move. Disney's not in that position because Disney's very diversified with theme parks and all kinds of stupid shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not
Cruise
that's
lines, not just Galactic
not,
Stars.
Not just Galactic Star Cruiser, which is the go-to. But yeah, so like basically the show isn't canceled. I'm actually willing to bet. I bet the farm on a season 2 of Acolyte from what I've heard. Like I really, really, truly believe that it will happen because the post development of Acolyte 2 never stopped. Or from Acolyte 1 never stopped. They continued to do work. So the foundations I know are there. It doesn't mean it'll happen. I've seen this happen before where early work is just kind of continuing and concepts and things like that are going on. And like for the High Republic era, there's like a fucking Bible of art designs. Like when they're not doing these movies, when they're not doing the shows, the full-time artists are working on the High Republic era at times. There's a whole fucking thing, like a huge, like, so the High Republic era is being well defined. I just have a hard time imagining that they don't get to it through the Acolyte series. But so here's the whole thing though, is there's the number one is I love George Lucas. I mean, this guy's on the show imitating him every day to make me laugh. He's in the fucking opening. I did a fucking song with him. We do a duet at the end of the show. So if you think I don't love George Lucas, you're fucking stupid, right? But it comes down to the thing of there is a myth in Hollywood of the auteur that it like there is this all-knowing, all-encompassing kind of fucking deity. They're a genius that you can't comprehend.
Comes out of the 70s.
It heavily does.
70s.
Yeah.
And just George's generation, the Coppola, you know.
And one thing about it is that and in recent years, it's been used to justify abuse in Hollywood. It's been used like I jokingly made the joke earlier in the week. I was like, hey, if you got to throw Shelley Duvall around on a set, but you get me the Shining, but then when you really look into it, you're like, oh, it's pretty dark, and like what they do, like the Woody Allen style stuff, and that's one of the things that Leslie Headland was written about for the Hollywood Reporter, I believe. There was an article she did a while ago.
To give people context,
yeah,
because I know some people go, well, it's just a movie. I'm tough. I watch giant, athletic, grown men break down over far less in basic training, man. Not even like crazy, not Navy SEALs, not Green Ranger.
Luke Skywalker showing up on Disney Plus.
I'm such a fucking nerd, dude. You know, Army Rangers, none of that special shit. Just the same. I did my basic training the same place they did Stripes. Yeah. They filmed Stripes. I was in the same platoon that they're in. Their drill sergeant was named Hulka. My name was Hulk Off. Like that's how fucking. And I was in with my best friend. So I watched guys in basically a comedy level, like basically fucking breakdown over far less than what Kubrick was doing to Shelley Duvall, you know, or what the director of the guy who was directed Exorcist, what he pulled on set by firing live guns and weapons and shit, you know, and
but
to get reactions. Friedkin, was it William Friedkin?
So the reason that comes up is that there is this assumption that they know all and they know what's best, and by knowing what's best, they can do anything and make up anything, and they could, but at the end, the results are, you know, the proof's in the pudding, baby. Like that's like,
you know who got the wake up call with that? I think Cameron believed in it up until James Cameron believed it until The Abyss.
Yeah. Well, kind of Woody Allen.
The Abyss was a giant wake up call for him. You know,
but here's the whole thing is you know, I'm not going to pretend that I have George Lucas on speed dial and I could be like, GL, what do you think? But the one thing that I think George Lucas dispelled it himself a long time ago. And Jedi Mike says 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. And I don't know if me and Jedi Mike are on the same page or if he's just entering the numbers into the bunker like always. But George Lucas wrote a letter to David Lindelof and Carlton Cuse and the crew at Lost as they wrapped up their show. The letter read, "Congratulations on pulling off an amazing show. Don't tell anyone, but when Star Wars first came out, I didn't know where it was going either. The trick is to pretend you've planned the whole thing out in advance. Throw in some father issues and references to other stories. Let's call them homages. And you got a series."
Right.
And then then he goes on to congratulate them on what the work that they've done. That is George Lucas admitting that, like, that's, I don't know. I am making it up as I go. I am faking it till I make it, just like everybody else. And he made it.
Right.
And then that's what propels the myth. And then, so what you end up having is this sort of this American individualism comes into play, that there's one man, there's one fucking lone cowboy who's going to ride in on his horse and he's going to save you and he's going to be your daddy. But that's a fucking lie, because your daddy doesn't know what's going on either. You ever hear parents say, God, parenting's hard, I'm just making it up as I go? That's because there is no God, there is no daddy. There's no one looking out for you. Everyone's just doing their best. I'm joking about the God thing. You believe whatever you want, but it's like it's like it's this idea though that of buying into this thing that there's this lone individualistic person or thing that's going to save you, and it's not true. And so what Leslie ends up getting into in her quote that we'll read is that a lot of people brought Star Wars together. It wasn't just George. George didn't do the Ralph McQuarrie concept. He didn't do the editing from that Richard Chew and Marshall Lucas did. He didn't
redesign the Millennium Falcon. He told someone to redesign it.
And he probably didn't bite a fucking hamburger to come up with it either. That's probably a lie as well. And but it's
he didn't build the motion control camera,
he didn't, you know what I mean? He didn't create the Dijkstra Flex. He didn't do the tech on it. He didn't, but that's not to say that he's not the main ingredient that brought the cake together. He is. He's the baker.
There's no Star Wars without him.
Without a doubt. But also there's no Star Wars without you change any of those elements and it's a different flavor cake. It bakes differently.
It's not even a cake, it's probably a pie.
It might be, it might be a cheesecake. Like I'd say the prequels were a cheesecake because they're kind of cheesy. I love them. But what you and then
for me, Jason.
And then these people though will swing whichever way they want depending on how they want this to go. But there's also this myth that the prequels were only full of yes men, and that it was truly the auteur theory at play, or the auteur at play, and that no one was telling George no or this or that or whatever, and it was just what George wanted the whole time. And it's like, no, in reality, George would be out barking orders, so to speak, and then people would bring back the work, and then he would just pick like a teenage girl lying on the floor scrapbooking. You know what I mean? That's at the end of the day what that's probably as auteur as it really truly got. But they did believe
anyone for the prequels, blame his kids.
No, don't say that.
Because every time these directors have kids, Jason, they go and
actually,
ruin their movies.
Rob, no. Thank you for saying that, because this is the other part of it. Is this behavior of the last 24 hours from all of these people talking about Leslie Headland and Acolyte are exactly why you don't fucking have George Lucas anymore. It's why he fucking sold it and bounced, because you're fucking crazy and you're not worth dealing with. And he's like, fuck this. Stop fucking with my kids. Stop fucking telling me all of the stupid shit that you want, about what Star Wars was supposed to be. And he fucking bounced. And it's the same exact behavior. But the difference is that when it is, in this instance, a woman who's a lesbian, that's when they get really mad about it. Because Gary Whitta said a whole fucking lot worse about George Lucas, as did Damon Lindelof, who actually apologizes in that reply to that letter. Sorry for all my comments on the prequels, George, at the end of it, because the truth is that they all have their opinions about Star Wars.
Jason, no joke, we're in the biggest wave of homophobia this country's seen since the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just be honest, man. Like
oh yeah,
it is disgusting. I grew up with this bullshit. I got real fortunate that I grew up around the gay community young as a kid, and by the way, no one tried to indoctrinate old Rob. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The only place Rob never felt safe in was a fucking church or the police station, and I had to go to both regularly. So, that's no shit. But that's what we're up against right now. We're up against this fucking shit. And so, if she wasn't gay, it'd be because she's a woman. If she wasn't a woman, it'd be because she's a liberal. If it wasn't a liberal, it'd be because she's fucking not George Lucas. You know what I mean? Because George Lucas isn't a liberal, right? Sure.
And if their content made you gay, then the straight content would have made them straight.
These are the same dudes that go around bitching about San Francisco. Hey, guess where Star Wars was built?
Yeah. So okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So here is what Leslie said that I think has kicked this off. Okay. And once again, I liked Leslie Headland's work. I don't care if she likes me or she doesn't. I'm not trying to pander to anybody. I'm just like, this is outrageous. Okay, so here's what she says. This is what we understand to be Star Wars. The idea that only came from George Lucas. Only George Lucas holds the key for what we understand to be Star Wars is untrue. And I think the prequels are an excellent example of that. I'm going to continue reading, but really quickly. That is true. That's not even her digging on the prequels. That's her saying that half of the audience said the Star Wars is this one thing and the other half said it's another thing and rejected it. Even our own Star Wars Santa, who loves everything, rejected the prequels because it wasn't Star Wars. So anyway, then she goes on to say the idea that you're hiring a director, that everyone is sitting there waiting for George Lucas and not for the person who's going to know how to hire Ralph McQuarrie. That's the problem. That's the misogyny. And the problem with the auteur myth as it stands today, because they're not thinking that this is the person that will hire the right people, and this is the person who will create the look of the books and direct people to get them to that place. So this is like her off the cuff, by the way. They're just thinking, do you have all the answers? And the truth is that nobody does. And anybody that says they do is lying. And that is the fucking
Jason,
truth.
This is the problem. The average person does not understand the process of creating things. They have no idea there's a process. They just think like AI, you type in a thing and it's done. Look, it did it faster. It didn't go. So when you need changes, when it doesn't work, what do? How do you fix it? I don't know. I just wait till I come up with an idea. No, there's a technique. There are processes that you go through to allow you to then go down a path to develop another idea, to iterate. They don't understand any of it. They have no concept of it. And even like having like 40 years of Cinefex magazines, these motherfuckers never once sat down to read one. So it's like that's it. The ones we're talking about. You know,
it doesn't even. Yeah, I mean, you could even just take it down to fucking Truby and story structure. They don't have any clue. Mostly, and I'm no expert. I'm not a film historian or a film academic, but it's just like like what the like general paths would be. You just like it just comes down to like very checkboxy, like we always joke about Wizard magazine style stuff at the end. Oh, then just get Halle Berry to be Catwoman, and then the movie's done. It's like, no,
if
it's
you
not.
just edited out the parts I didn't like, the movie would be better. No, that's not how it works. You know,
so
we're so easy.
George Lucas has not been Star Wars for over 10 fucking years now. Rogue One. I'm gonna go to Rogue One because it is the movie that number one had people who said George Lucas isn't good and still Star Wars. That's what Gary Whitta said. George Lucas said, Gary Whitta said, like, Lucas is a hack. Those movies suck. Don't pay for the special editions. Like, he's the one who's actually said the shitty things, when you get down to it. But also at the same time, I don't know to what extent Gary Whitta's, I don't think he really shaped Rogue One that much in the end, but I do think he laid the foundations for Rogue One to be what it was, and you can't take that away from the guy. And he could not disagree more with George Lucas. And I don't think that
I disagree with
Gilroy. Yeah, I don't think that Gilroy
often
would. I think that Gilroy outclasses George Lucas as a writer and with the subtleties of filmmaking, like by far. And I think George Lucas is clunky, but I also think he's fucking awesome. I think he's fucking rad. I think that like his bold ideas are like super good. To me, he's like, it's like, you have like a Freddie Mercury writing Love of My Life, and that's like Gilroy. And in my opinion, he's like the fucking Ramones. He just gets the basics really down, really bold and really fast. And you're like, fuck yeah, that's what I like. But Star Wars itself is just such an amalgamation of homage, call it thievery if you want.
No. And then I want to write Fat Bottom Girls. That's the one I want to write. Just so you know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Fun show, Jason. I'd super chat you, but I don't care.
Yeah, but you also write Bicycle Race, not Fat Bottom Girls, but you want to be that guy, and I understand, George. No, but
I shot the video. I did.
Yeah. Right. So I smelled the bicycle seats. Anyways, yeah, but we end up, like I said, like with this idea that that's the only way movies can be made or are made, and it's just not true. And like I said, in Hollywood it's a problem because it's been used to justify extremely like abusive behavior, like Weinstein kind of stuff, because hey, you know what, like that's part of the process, man. It's like, no, it's
how
not.
about that K. Russell, the guy from the Three Kings, David O. Russell, whatever. He's a real piece of work on set. You know.
Yeah.
He's one of those dudes they kind of put in that category. You know, that's how he gets the performances that get the Oscars. And I'm like, yeah,
yeah. But it's like, so if we want Star Wars to be to continue on, if we want Star Wars to be a living document that is being written and contributed to over time, every year, every Disney Plus show, every film, you can't go forward pretending that myth is what created that pie or that cake, because otherwise you just won't be able to make it happen. Instead, it'll just be like The Mandalorian, where you just have like just Jon Favreau, and this is what I think Star Wars is. And I don't think Star Wars is just what Jon Favreau says it is. I like Jon Favreau's Star Wars. I think it's fun.
Jason,
but it's not.
Can I make an analogy here? I think just popped in my head. I think it might work. You tell me if this just checks out, right?
Okay.
Right. No, I'm being serious, right? You can never tell, right?
Okay.
But
we'll see.
You know that show where they dress up the boss as one of us plebes, and then they make the boss.
Undercover Boss.
Yeah.
I've
only seen the show. I've never watched the show. I love that movie too.
Yeah, Kylo Ren did it. Kylo Ren did it once.
So yeah, right. There you go.
Yeah.
I feel like if you just replace the CEO character with the average fan and then make them go work on a fucking set, you know, a nice 16-hour shoot for, I don't know, 3 months fucking straight, you know, like just shut up. You know?
Yeah.
They'll stop complaining a whole lot more. When I give my complaints, I'm very aware of how fucking difficult it is. I check in with my buddy who films shit. He's filming right now. He's been busy for 4 fucking weeks, dude. You know, dude was unemployed. Now ever since the strike, dude, he's had more work than since before COVID. It's weird. But what I'm just trying to say is you got to understand, you know, like they've never walked, you know, or attempted to walk in the shoes, you know?
Yeah. General Grievous says George Lucas is definitely the creator. That's well, 2 things about that. We're not really debating that. He is the creator of Star Wars, but also what original idea did George Lucas bring to Star Wars that wasn't just a reference to something else, which he even admits homages? What was it? What is the alchemy? Is it just George Lucas's father's cum mixed with his mom's fucking egg, and now we got Star Wars? Because that's not what it is. It's George Lucas's experiences with pop culture. It's the shows that gave George Lucas dopamine hits as a child that he attempted to recreate for himself as a 31-year-old, basically. And so, and then,
Jason, that when James Cameron is filming things underwater, he's not just placing characters underwater to do an effect. He's trying to give you the experience of his experiences under the ocean through a great adventure. There might be some creative, but he's also giving you those experiences. And there's transference, and every creator, whenever they're trying to make something, they're trying to give you some level of transference. So if they're being genuine, that's the difference between that and just hacking one out for, you know, a paid gig, you know?
Yeah. See, so here's, I mean, I tend to go to music for my analogies. And what we have here is Star Wars itself has become a genre. And it's as a genre, I think, is when, number one, you have the visual cues that we're used to from Star Wars, that we have grown accustomed to as being part of it, and then you mix it up with a bunch of stuff. And now, but what George Lucas did in doing that initially is the most common fucking thing today in the world. Every Marvel movie that you see is, let's take the spy thriller, mix it with the superhero genre. Let's take the romantic comedy and mix it with the superhero genre. What Star Wars is kind of doing now is it's taking Star Wars as a genre, mixing it with whatever the dominant genre would be, like an Andor the spy thriller, and then also referencing things that Star Wars has maybe never got to do before because, you know, they were created concurrently, such as when Dave Filoni did his episodes that were an homage to The Predator, where Ahsoka and Chewbacca are dropped off on a planet and hunted by Trandoshans. Stuff
Someone
like that.
say Predator, Jason.
Oh, hey, how's it going, buddy?
I'm still celebrating right now. That's what I'm doing.
Still your birthday?
It's a birthday month, Jason. Get the whole month for Filoni.
So what people don't know is that when it's Dave Filoni's birthday, he thinks if he never goes to sleep, his birthday continues, and he stays up for several days, but then he sleeps for like 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah,
I'm like a little bear. I'm like a little cub. You know what I'm saying?
Like yeah. But
yeah. Anyway, I gotta go.
But yeah, and I'm glad you showed up, Dave, because here's the other side of it is if George Lucas is Star Wars, then what is Dave Filoni? What is Dave Filoni, just a cover band? Is he just a guy from Journey who replaced the singer from Journey or whatever? Is that all that he is? Is that all you guys want? Do you guys just want to go, you know what I mean? Do you guys want to see Led Zeppelin, or do you guys want to see Dread Zeppelin? Because if you just go around pretending to be George, trying to do everything that George would do, going, oh, what would George do in this thing? Then you don't end up with anything further. But what we have here with Star Wars as a genre is we have, let's just say Star Wars was punk. George created punk. Well, now other punk bands get to come in and they get to go, what can I do with 3 chords and a lot of energy? Or in this case, $200 million and a lot of energy. You know,
let me explain to those nitwits out there who don't get what you're saying, right?
Okay.
Name one person on the internet you've listened to. You know all the ones, Jason. Over the last 20 years, pick a site, any stream, any web page, any person at all, even myself.
Peter Scretta just retired, so I'll pick Peter Scretta.
Name one who said if you got to write the story of the Clone Wars, any one of them who would have come up with the character Dexter Jetster in a fucking 50s diner, name one of them who would have invented that. You know what that number is, Jason? 0.
But yeah, and so when Dexter Jetster hits the internet, the name leaked early, I laughed. I'm like, fucking George Lucas. I'm like, cool. Right. I know it doesn't really matter. Right. And then another half of people are going, fuck, what the fuck is this bullshit? Elon Sleaze Pagano, give me a fucking break. That's what happened. So that alone, though, shows that this auteur theory of Star Wars doesn't apply. And that's the point that Headland is making. The prequels exemplify. It doesn't matter if you love the prequels or you hate the prequels. The point was the audience said Star Wars is this, and George is like, well, to me, it's this. Nobody agreed on what Star Wars was. And so that, once again, so to buy into the myth,
when anyone is writing their fan fiction lore, and they're always like, this character would meet up with this one and that one. Name any of them who are throwing in Captain Typhos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
like name any of them who are writing C.O. Bibbles.
And I'm going to be honest with you. George Lucas doesn't party. George Lucas don't fuck. And with George Lucas, I don't think we get Bix, you guys. I'm just going to be real with you guys right now. I don't think we get Bix with George Lucas.
No, George Lucas is the safest thing.
He has a chance.
That Linda Ronstadt ever did, right?
What? Yeah. What was that? Was that like Linda just going through her like safe dick phase or something? What was that about? That was really weird.
She just dated Jim Carrey, Jason. You know,
I know, but it was young Jim Carrey. Sorry, he was probably like, "Alrighty then," you know, and she's like, "This is too much.
It's too much. It's too much." He's like, "But your kids are gonna love it," you know, like, all right.
No, yeah. So, but we do see like on Acolyte, it's weird that that's become like the show to beat up. And for the record, I'm not sold on Acolyte being good. I'm not sold. I haven't heard anything that makes me go, yeah, I believe it, bro. You know what I mean?
I've been all for it. I saw the leaked trailer. I wasn't that into the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And
Yeah.
And I feel like for a show and for me it was like, okay, a show that's pitching itself as a path to the dark side and a different take. It's just a lot of good guys and good kids, Jedi kids running around everywhere. I don't know, man. So we got to see the show to really know what's going on.
Well,
maybe not a great trailer, you know. It's possible.
Yeah, and while you were bringing up like people you follow on the internet and commentators and stuff like that, I don't know, I only attempt to follow people I think are sincere about what they say. If you are going and you are pushing this Leslie Headland idea and that she's like a piece of shit and the show is bad and the show is canceled and so on, like all of that kind of jazz. And then you have in the last year defended the expanded universe as something to behold and that is literally against George Lucas. The expanded universe is literally something that he did not want to exist. It was
unless
a necessary
it featured
evil.
Double-bladed lightsabers, and he was cool.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I mean, let's like he lived from it. No, that was the comics, though. But
what?
No. I mean, I'm just saying though. George Lucas had zero respect for it. Did not want it to exist. And it's not like, and I say that like half-heartedly. People are like, you know, like, oh, he destroys every copy of the holiday special. No, he doesn't. He just looks like that's bad. Just no, we're not putting it out. Like it's just that easy. But
George wants to comment on something, Jason. Sam the Sham says George wrote the music for Williams, obviously.
Yeah, he hummed
George,
it. He hummed it. It goes meh 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 meh.
Yeah, I mean it's something like that.
And Williams is like, this is good stuff. I'm gonna write this down.
All right, I was humming. It's not about spaceships. It's not about spaceships.
That's spaceships.
It's not. I think he plagiarized. And he took all the money. He took all the money. Yeah,
I believe you,
unions.
George.
It's unions. I gotta. I'm working. Yeah. I'm working on it.
Yeah, I mean, you're a music legend, George. You know, people should acknowledge that about you. I think John Williams. I think it's time for him to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I mean, he wrote the notes down that you clearly dictated to him.
Who knows what? Who cares who Holst is, right? Who cares?
Yeah, who gives a fuck? I mean, yeah, fuck that shit.
What about?
That was your idea.
I don't know any musicians.
I mean, you time traveled. Hum that. Holst wrote it down, and then acts like it's his. It's you, George.
I did.
It's all you.
I did.
It's always been you, George.
You want to produce one of my films? I like the cut of your jib.
Yeah, dude. I'll do whatever. I'll say whatever, dude. I'll be like, hey, George, let's get some cocaine and do whatever you want. that was Rick McCallum's whole thing. Let's get cocaine
Jason,
and do whatever you want.
Trying for years, he won't do it. I'm just letting you know right now.
Yeah. Strangely, it puts George to sleep. When he does coke, he just sleeps. It's weird. It's like the opposite for him. But yeah, good point, Sam. Good point. Yeah, it's like that's where we're at. That's where Kathleen Kennedy. That's where Dave Filoni. That's where even Tony Gilroy. All of these people are like, what makes this thing tick? What makes it? But how do we do it without doing exactly what we've already done every time? Except for J.J. Abrams. He wanted to do exactly what he's already done. And then he did it. He did his cover album, and then he tried to do an original one, and he fell on his face. But, we
don't speak about that movie.
Yeah, but it's like why can't I mean see like here's the thing though. The auteur theory isn't necessarily like the myth, I would say, isn't the way to go about looking at the future of Star Wars exclusively. Now, I am somebody who I do appreciate some tenets of it. I would prefer a great writer like Rian Johnson, who's also a great director, write and direct his movie. But I also think it falls apart when a poor writer like J.J. Abrams wants to write and direct this movie.
Yeah.
So that right there, that fucking divide right there is something that proves that it's something that we need to recontextualize and get real about. You need to look at it realistically as opposed to buying into the myth of it. Because like Headland says there's an article that she wrote, and it's about which I'm sure will make those same guys really happy, but Russian Doll co-creator, why the auteur myth is misogynistic. And in that one, I'm not going to read the article because it doesn't necessarily pertain across the board. But the thing about it is that she says is that like when the actress is being abused by the director and coming up with something because it wasn't there, well, is the auteur the know-all God in that situation, or did the actor bring it? The actor brought it. The actor was whipped into finding the answer. And when they're in bed, because the director has the excuse to sleep with his co-stars or his stars and stuff like that is there writing it out, and they're in bed talking and stuff like that. Did he do that on his own? No, he didn't. And that's where I find the Marcia and George Lucas like discussion. It's always way over here or way over there. It's all Marcia. He's just a fucking no talent idiot.
Hirsch.
Okay,
Paul Hirsch.
Fuck Paul Hirsch. No, but my
I tried
my point,
for years. He just wasn't
kidding.
into it, Jason.
No, Paul Hirsch
took him to Six Flags and everything. Cool.
But no, but the thing is that like no, the truth is that either of those myths are wrong. It was a collaborative effort. It's like it's the fucking Beatles. Right. You take one Beatle out, you got Wings, man. You know what I mean? That's at the end of the day, you end up with Wings. And
do you think Paul Best would have done that drum solo that we all know that Ringo does in that
Pete
song?
Best? Pete Best?
Pete Best. The drum solo. You know what I mean? When they're doing that song and then
Best sucks. Star Wars Make says, my thing is, what if the Acolyte is good? Like a lot of people are bashing it before it arrives, regardless of what you think of Leslie. It might be genuinely amazing show. So, and that's one of the other things that keeps coming up is that people were not believing my scoop that it wrapped. And because they heard on the youtube.com that they had only done 4 of them at Celebration, that means that they couldn't have done 4 since Celebration. And it's like, no, Kathleen Kennedy is saying, I've seen 4, I think is what she was saying. And they're assuming that if the other 4 were just not even touched yet. That's because the quotes were taken out of context, miscontextualized, to lie to you, to make you angry, to keep you in the fold and get super chat cash from you. That's what happened. And Meg specifically, no, I'm joking, but that's what that's how the game is played, and it's just it's not accurate. And they filmed the show, like we said yesterday, for about 8 months. How long do people think it takes to film a season of a Disney Plus Star Wars show? Do you think a month per episode is good? Because it is. And then the other thing, after I said these things, then it started to get recontextualized again, because you just got to keep moving the goalposts to make the desired original outcome true, right? And like they just go on and they say, oh well, how could it happen during the writer's strike? And what's different about the Acolyte versus the other shows is the Acolyte didn't have a mini writer's room. The Acolyte had a full writing staff, which means you have somewhere between 6 to 12 people roughly who are working together. They are talking about what they're doing. They're probably working on scripts and teams and they are working on a specific script. Whereas when you want to contextualize that against Andor, Tony Gilroy is writing the majority of it and then tossing over elements that he can't figure out, that he's struggling with, or the ideas of his 2 collaborators who then come in. And but at the end of the day, what you end up with is a very coherent vision in with that way, where it is mostly the Gilroy vision, if you will. But when a writer strike breaks out and he's ejected from the set if he doesn't want to be blacklisted, now we have a uh-oh kind of moment. Whereas on the other side, on the Acolyte, those scripts were all people pretty much said what they wanted to say and worked on their scripts and got them into a finished place before filming. And now there's always a chance that once they start filming, Amanda Stenberg's trying to read a line, and she's like, this doesn't fucking make sense. I can't say this, George. You know what I mean? Whatever it happens to be. And then they have the on-set writers who would fix it up. But it's not the same kind of issue. It could arise, but that's how that's how they handled it. And on top of that, this strike didn't come out of nowhere. It wasn't a surprise. So the problematic parts in the scripts, the weak points, the difficult stuff, was likely, I don't know this for certain, so I'm not trying to say this is what they did, but I would imagine they scheduled that stuff earlier on, so that way they knew that they had enough time to write the revisions for the pickup shots that would need to come, and for whatever, you could read a script and know where the weak points are. These are professional writers. And when you have 12 of them and they're reading each other's scripts, they are identifying where the problems are. So most likely, it was scheduled out that way. I don't know that for certain, but I would be very, very fucking surprised if that wasn't the case, especially based off of how things were going on other productions I know about. So anyways, yeah, so Acolyte wrapping is not a surprise. It's been the plan. I believe Acolyte was likely even started when it was with the writer's strike in mind. Same thing with that's why they said it before. They had extra shows in the can because of the writer's strike. They could have really made life a lot easier on people, and they didn't because of the writer's strike. You know what I mean? That's why I believe Skeleton Crew filmed when it did. I could be wrong about that, right. But I think but based off of the way that I learned how they were responding to the writer's strike, I think that's the assumption. Yeah.
As people on set like to call it, Skeleton Cruel.
Oh, hey.
Oh. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's it's the same. I mean, this is just like the same stuff from the same people, though. Like, you could just look at, like, if you just fucking made a spreadsheet of what they attack, who they attack, and how they attack them. You could see that, like, our buddy at Lost, Lindelof, wasn't getting the same thing when he came on to do his Ray film. Yet he's the one who actually straight up talks shit. He's the one who fucking retweeted out the Red Letter Media video on the takedown of the Phantom Menace, saying this should be taught in every film school and someone should show George Lucas.
Yeah.
Like, and then so you're gonna take, you know what I mean, take that, but and at the same time,
and remember the Red Letter Media video also. Remember when they said J.J. Abrams should direct a Star Wars?
Yeah,
that was their pick too,
mm-hmm.
And then they're not so happy about that now. So it's like
I think those guys are funny. Yeah, I don't agree with their analysis, but I think
Wars. The biggest problem I think with making a Star Wars is trying to live up to Star Wars. Like trying to live up to everything. You just can't. You got to settle in for what you're making, and have fun, but don't make fun. Like, and even then you can still make fun if you're really good at knowing how to balance it. Like, in a way, the Spider-Verse films kind of make fun of Spider-Man fans and fandom. If you really look at it, it kind of breaks it apart. It
Han
just does
Solo,
it in an emotionally truthful way.
Han Solo does that though. Han Solo's the one who in A New Hope is looking at the shit that Obi-Wan and Luke are saying and like eye rolling, like, are you fucking kidding me? But you have an actor who could sell it, and you have a character who's that, like, sarcastic and laconic or whatever, who can, you know what I mean, pull it off.
The actor sold the shit out of it.
The actor sold the shit out of it. Yeah,
we've seen those auditions by every major actor there ever. I love me Kurt Russell. He ain't no Han Solo. not at that. Jack Burton's more Han Solo than whatever he was doing there.
Yeah,
that day. Yeah. So
Yeah, and I mean, yes, the New Hope cast is fucking perfect. You know what I mean?
Who in
And once
1979?
again, who was it?
Who in?
Was it De Palma that he was with when he was casting Star Wars? They
Yeah.
were like he wasn't alone in that room when he
No.
was picking his cast, when they were discussing out who would be better for Carrie and who would be better for Star Wars. They were doing it together. When George Lucas writes Star Wars and shows it to his friends and they all get together and pick it apart, it's because he had a writer peer group, a peer review group of other artists. I mean, and without De Palma, you don't get the opening crawl. He tore Star Wars apart and was like, "You need to fucking this. None of this shit makes sense." And
he was a little bit of an asshole about it.
He was an asshole about it.
That's where Paul Hirsch is.
Yeah.
He tells the story of the day they did that. And
Yeah.
I was like, De Palma was being a little too mean, in my opinion, but George checked him pretty good. So it's pretty.
Yeah,
pretty,
he
pretty
made one of the best movies of all time. But the point is, George didn't just sit there and go, "Yeah, 1930s Republic serials. This is what I am referencing. Everybody who wants to touch my arm." No, he got bullied by his friend, and then he came back with that answer.
It's like
not,
when
it's not
people
a
go in the chat.
It's not a deity. It's not a godlike move, is it? It's the opposite.
It's like when people go in the chat, they go, Rob, Avatar's just Dances of Wolves in space. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, Star Wars is just dirty Flash Gordon. You know what I mean? like you can do this all fucking day long too, right? Like
Star Wars
if it were that simple,
a B grade hidden fortress in some ways too.
If it were that simple though, everyone could just do a dirty Flash Gordon and make another Star Wars, right? Who's pulled that one off? Nobody.
Like
anyone can make a Dances with Wolves in space. I mean, John Carter of Mars. How will that go? Like,
I think knowing structure is I think important, but also like I think most writers would say when you're writing well, the structure comes naturally.
Yeah. Structure is good for revisions to kind of help tighten things up, and in the same way that editing helps with that too. If you know structure, editing is the same deal.
Yeah, but it's also like when you're playing music and you know scales, but you don't want to play scales. And if you just do structure, you're playing scales. You're not playing music. That's my point.
My personal belief is if you got to put an emotional truth into your bit, not something you're trying to teach someone like this is what's popular on the internet, or I'm trying to sell like a political idea to make myself feel better. No, a real something you experience, an emotional truth, in your artwork for people to relate to.
Yeah.
When there is that, and whether it's one person or it's a group of you have to put something in there that resonates as being, oh shit, even though this is a big corporate fucking action figure, piece of, product that's there to make money, there is something truthful that's meaningful in there.
Like Indiana Jones, but let's just pretend it's Star Wars, okay? Let's pretend Han Solo didn't die, but you were doing you could, if you did a movie where Han Solo was retiring and he was having to say goodbye to all of the people he saw every day, and his world was about to get a lot smaller, and then blah 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 blah, and you did it on the backdrop of a battle and all of this stuff, right? That would still be the same thing that George Lucas did, because George Lucas told the story through the hero's journey. And a funny joke from Sam, even the hero's journey was a recycled plot. Yeah, it's like literally.
There's an actual diagram where it recycles itself.
It's like,
page one. Got my copyright over here.
No, but the point being is that if you were to do that, you would be doing the same thing that George did. You told something about a life, a step in life, and then where you end up after that step. Like in Star Wars, the original one, he's a boy, now he's a man, kind of thing. And so you would have that kind of transformation, but you can do that. And if they made that movie, I think people would hate it. I don't think they should probably make that movie. Well, we'll see how Indiana Jones does. But when they go and they like, it's the same thing on paper. Well, but those guys wouldn't see that though. They wouldn't see it that way.
I would counter that there's also, it's in that first film, in that Obi-Wan isn't dead either. Even though he's died, he hasn't died. And that's an emotional truth. That's actually the thing that De Palma bitched about Lucas the Force. This is stupid. And Lucas comes back at him. Maybe if your movies had the Force in it, they'd make more money. You know? Ooh, sick burn, dude.
It's a pretty good burn.
So in the way that, you know, like that, and it's done in a way that is emotionally resonant with the characters. It's not just being told to them how things work.
Yeah.
It's the biggest problem with fan fiction is they just go on an exposition rant. They just tell everyone how shit works.
Yeah.
And not fan fiction, but anything I watch where I'm like, oh, they're just telling me how, like, Mando season 3 is chock full of this nonsense where you just tell you about Bo-Katan. They just tell you all these things. She worked with the bad guy for a while, and we did this and we did that. But I'm like, yeah, man, like I can't feel it. You know, like, I got to experience this. And so the Obi-Wan coming back from the dead to speak to Luke is done in an emotional way. And let's be honest, John Williams probably helped sell that as much as anyone else, you know, like, but, and that meant a lot in a time when, I mean, they're turning on the news, and that was when the news was showing you the horrors of war every night.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not like now where they just, it's like a football game, you know, where
giant freaking robot. We've exclusively learned that Dave Filoni's upcoming Star Wars film will see the return of Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo and the recasting of Leia Organa. Yeah, okay, guys. Okay, yeah.
No, he gonna be Two-Faced, Jason. My movie's called Mando Forever.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's crazy that they're casting for a movie.
Solo faces.
You can't write
two faces. He's gonna have young Solo.
You can't even write it.
Old Solo face. He's gonna be half Solo.
You're writing right now. You're writing. You're gonna get in trouble.
Oh no, I'm writing. Yeah. I'm gonna get blacklisted. Ooh, blacklisted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, put me on a list. Tell me I can't do things. I love it.
You're gonna be on the list. Yeah.
Guys, don't get him started on that. He loves that. What are you doing, Jason? You're encouraging him.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of weird. It's like maybe since you could get the information on the Star Wars movie that's coming after the next Star Wars movie, maybe you should rewind it and get the news on the Star Wars movie they're supposed to be making next. I mean, that would make.
I didn't realize. I just said Filoni just said that Alden Ehrenreich would play Two-Face and then he'd be two solos. Like, like I did not. I don't know where that. I don't know how I came up with that one. Like,
you know what?
That is a good idea, right? Like,
it's not a bad idea.
It does work. It does work.
Yeah,
it does work.
Yeah, but well, this is where we are, you guys. We are in a time when there's not a lot going on, so the guys are going to manufacture outrage and they're going to make shit up. That's just where it is. And like, there's absolutely nothing I can do about it or Bespin Bulletin because, what do the Anamodians say?
We can't even get to 8,000 subs, Jason.
There's nothing to report,
for a year and a half, like,
hey,
we have no pull.
No pull. The truth does not sell. That's a fact, but it's only gonna probably pick up until we get into like production time, and then I think that they start to get a little bit more nervous about making shit up because, actually, I don't even think they give a fuck. I mean, they literally said a show wasn't being made that was wrapped. It's like It's fucking wild. Like. That's some. I mean, God, if QAnon finds those guys, the audience, they're gone.
How do you know they're not already working?
Yeah, right. They're like, fucking. I want to get in on that. I want to do like our version of Kennedy's going to return and become like the VP. Our thing is George Lucas is going to release a Star Wars movie in Reykjavik at the specific theater. On December 25th,
with Kennedy's coming back.
No, yeah, but it's George Lucas. He's made his own Star Wars movie with his $4 billion, and he's releasing.
I was talking about JFK Jr. and the Plaza people.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so we get all of these people to go to like Reykjavik on Christmas, outside of a theater that's closed.
The Angel of Dooku is gonna hero at the White House on May 29th.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
These fucking people, man. Like it never gets old, dude. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna sit there and be one of these apathetic Gen Xers who goes, "People suck," but a lot of them do.
Yeah. General Grievous says, I think you can do a hero's journey with some originality. No, like the hero's journey is literally the opposite of originality in terms of the structure, though. That's all it is a structure. And that's I think, honestly, this is just a misunderstanding of what it is. There's a lot of people have done the hero's journey and you hate the movie. And then Star Wars did it and you like it. But the thing about it is that isn't the magic isn't in the hero's journey. There's even that one activist Disney guy who's trying to take it over so he could give Disney to DeSantis. You know that guy? Remember that guy we talked about like a while ago? He's making for calls for Star Wars to return to the hero's journey format. Rey followed the hero's journey format, you guys. The guys who don't like it. I'm not saying General Grievous here is saying that. Maybe you are, George. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they say that, and it's like Rey literally followed the hero's journey.
Yeah.
You don't. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. And yeah, you could take any structure and do a great story. Any structure that's been identified.
Jar Jar follows the hero's journey in the Phantom Menace.
But every great story or every structure that we could identify probably has a great piece of art attached to it. So yeah, you're not wrong.
Nicky follows a hero's journey. Who wants to watch that fucking movie again? Like
Popeye's chicken's fucking awesome.
The hero Ant-Man and the Quantum Mania follows the hero's journey. Thor: Love and Thunders follows the hero's journey. Just letting you guys know, like
yeah,
it's not the answer.
But the idea that Star Wars isn't doing that today is, right. I don't know where that comes from, because it's like, if you just pay attention, it does.
Well, I wrote in the chat GPT and it told me how it doesn't, because I told it I wanted to tell me how it doesn't, so it gave me a bunch of fucking answers.
No, the actual truth is, Rob, is when you ride or die with the hero's journey, Chat GPT might as well write it.
Hey, remember when all those Wall Street guys bought Warner Brothers and decided to like get involved with the Snyder films? How well did that go for everybody?
Yeah.
You got the Justice League, you got like, to this day, I still think how fucking Henry Cavill ever fucking he should have sued over that, what they did to his face in that movie. As an actor, all you have is your face, man. When you're young, that's what, seriously, that's what's getting you on places. And his face is certainly the one getting him on places. And that face, I don't know what the fuck this is.
I say just give Superman a mustache.
Sued.
Superman can grow a mustache. What? He can't grow a mustache? You're trying to say he's super. He could grow one.
The Superman I grew up with in Mexico, they had a bootleg Superman show. He had a mustache.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, he did. It was great. He'd fly in front of a green screen, but it would just be space. Even when he was in the city, he would just jump to space.
Or we could give Superman a Gary Kurtz beard with no mustache. Just flip it. They could have that one if they want it for the next one. I'll give it to them. Just saying. All right, everybody. We'll see everybody tomorrow. We've done our hour. We've done our topic. We've said our piece. If you disagree with us, you can leave us a comment, and I'll read it, and I'll probably.
I felt the answer, by the way, for that reshoot when they couldn't get rid of the mustache was just to give him the full beard, because he had a beard in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
They had just put on the beard extensions. You know what I mean? Like they could have given him a beard, and it would have, because he'd been, the hair still grows after you die anyway. We just would have looked better. But have you ever seen the footage?
You're such a nerd. Actually, your hand, your fingernails, and your toenails, they still grow after you die.
Look, man. Look, you got to fucking sell it to a producer like John Peters. And have you seen that guy? He sits on his couch and has people read scripts to him. Like, it's fucking crazy. Go watch the Death and Return of Superman Lives and just watch John Peters. He literally lives in the house that Bruce Wayne lives in Batman Begins. It's just filled with all this old, baroque shit, you know what I mean? Or you know what it reminds me of? Gene Hackman's office in Get Shorty, where it's got all that Hollywood stuff from the 30s on the walls everywhere.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
And General Grievous says, thank you for the stream. Thank you, General Grievous. I hope you don't feel picked on, but I did pick on you today, but thank you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And thank you, Dale. And thank you to everybody who's a channel member and all that stuff. And thanks for showing up on the late notice, Rob. And we'll see everybody tomorrow.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.